Hello, good morning class. Welcome to my next lecture of English communication. So, in this lecture we are going to discuss about body language. That in previous lecture we have discussed about communication, we have discussed about self introduction, then we have discussed about that how you will write about your achievements, what you think about your achievement, what kind of feeling you are getting when you think in the past that you have got some kind of achievement. Then when you recall that achievement, what kind of feeling you are having. So now in this session we are going to discuss about body language. Body language used to be a very important factor when we communicate with others. What type of communication we are doing, then that is totally depend upon our body language कि आपकी body language क्या है. अगर आप किसी से कुछ भी नहीं कह रहे हैं, you are not using any word for communication, but your body language will communicate everything that you want to convey to the other person. So that means body language also is very important factor in the process of communication. So now let's do with the body language. So there are number of factors on which body language depends. For example, it's what you don't say that counts. Whenever you are in a public or whenever you are in any kind of place, keep one thing in mind that you are going to be noticed by everyone. Someone is noticing your facial expression, someone is noticing your body language, someone is noticing your eye contact. So that means whenever you are in a public place or whenever you are in a mode of communication, you are watched by every person. No matter that the person or a group of person which are seeing you will watch you on the basis of your body language, on the basis of eye contact that you are using, on the basis of movements of hand that you are using while communicating with the other. So these are some of the postures which helps you to convey your message if you are not using words. So these are some of the body languages that helps in conveying the message to the audience if you are not in a mood to communicate. कभी कभी आप बहुत परेशान होते हैं या आपके सिर में दर्द हो रहा होता है. So at that moment of time you don't want to communicate with anyone. Why? Because you are not in a mood to communicate with anyone. So that means if you are not in a mood to communicate but you use certain type of body language or facial expressions that convey the meaning that yes, you are not feeling well and you are not in a mood to talk. So that's why body language is also considered as a basic factor in the process of communication. So in this lecture we are going to discuss about different types of body postures or body gestures which we used to give while communicating with the other person. In today's hard world, you don't just have to be able to talk the talk, you have got to walk the talk. How to trigger positive emotions, how to ensure you are not interrupted, how to create instant rapport and trust, how to know when someone is lying, how to deal with rude and aggressive people. So these are some of the problems that everyone is facing in today's scenario while you are communicating with the other person. So that means what is that factor which helps you to make you understand what the other person is thinking or what the other person is in a position. So that means the answer is the body language, the body posture. So body language helps to recognize to the reflections or emotions of the other person or the group of person to whom you are communicating. What do you mean by body language? Body language is a kind of non-verbal communication where thoughts, intentions or feelings are expressed by physical behaviors such as facial expressions, body posture, gestures, eye movement, touch and the use of space. So that means body language is a kind of non-verbal communication which we have already discussed. So if you are in a mood of doing non-verbal communication, that means you have to opt a body language. So body language is a kind of conversation or is a kind of communication which reflects your thoughts, your intentions, your feelings in the form of facial expression, eye contact, body postures, movement of hands and etc. Body language, non-verbal communication. Body language comes in clusters of signals and postures depending on the internal emotions and mental state. So body language reflects the mental state and internal emotions of a person. Non-verbal communication includes facial expression, eye contact, tone of voice, body postures and motions and positioning within groups. It may also include the way we wear our clothes or the silence we keep. Have you ever heard anyone say, his action spoke so loudly I couldn't hear what he said? Sometimes your action speaks. That means whatever the body language that you are carrying with yourself in the process of communicating with the other person, so that is also a kind of communication, but it is a non-verbal communication which reflects the internal behavior and the internal emotions and the mental health of a person. Why is body language important? So as we all know that body language plays a very important role. For example, अगर हमारी मदर गुस्सा होती हैं और हमसे बात नहीं करना चाहती हैं, then she used to give a kind of face expression by which we can understand that she is not in a mood to communicate or she don't want to talk to anyone. That means वो अभी गुस्सा है. So for showing that expression, she has not communicated, she has not used any kind of word, but she has used a kind of facial expression or a body language by which you can understand that your mother is not in a mood to communicate to anyone. So here are some of the ratios which helps you that how much percentage of communication is important. 55% of body language we used while communicating, 7% of words are used in the process of communication and 38% the tone of voice. That means 100% communication is not dependent on the spoken words. That means 55% of the communication depends upon body language, only 7% depends upon spoken words and 38% depends upon the tone of voice. Tone of voice mean here we are discussing about the pitch. Sometimes your pitch is very high, sometimes your pitch is very low and sometimes your pitch is very aggressive. So that means that is a tone of voice which also makes the people to understand in what state you are. Body language, these are certain types of body language that we are using in the process of communication. Eye contact, shaking hands, smile and laugh and postures. These are the types of body languages that we used to have while communicating with the person. Eye contact. Eye contact plays a very important role because if you are in a public speaking, then try to maintain an eye contact, regular eye contact with your audience, because if you are not maintaining the eye contact with the audience and you are looking here and there, then it reflects a lack of confidence within the person. So whenever you are communicating, no matter you are communicating with a group of people or only an individual, but regularly you have to make an eye contact. That means you can see in this lecture that continuous I am making an eye contact with my students. Why? Because it is a kind of confidence that I am giving to my students that whatever I am teaching, that is seems to be helpful in your nearby future. So whenever you are communicating, always keep a regular eye contact, no matter you are dealing with a public, no matter you are dealing with an individual. So 80 and 90% of the time you are using your eyes, and your movement of eyes will make the other person that whether you are confident or not. So these things that you have to keep in mind. Eye contact is a very important form of body language. If you don't want to communicate with the help of words, but with the movement of eyes, you can easily communicate what you want to say. So that means regular eye contact, maintaining a regular eye contact with the person or with the audience shows that you are confident. And if you are looking upstairs or downstairs, that means whatever you are delivering, you are not confident in that. So that means if you are maintaining no eye contact, that means you are in lack of confidence. Types of body language. So this posture is a blunder. That's something which is unexpected. कभी कभी हमारे साथ ऐसा हो जाता है कि सामने वाला पर्सन कुछ ऐसा एक्ट कर जाता है विच refers as a kind of blunder or which is beyond our expectation. So this shows that you have done blunder. Leaning back too much. If you are in an office or in a public place or on your professional front, and if you are leaning behind or back to the seat, then it shows a kind of laziness or your arrogant behavior. You can notice when I am taking your lecture, I never used to lean back at my chair. That means that shows if you are leaning back to the chair, this reflects that you are a kind of lazy personality. Second, leaning forward can seem aggressive. Aim for a neutral posture. If you are sitting in this kind of posture, then it reflects that you are very aggressive, and whatever your aim is, then in every situation you act as a neutral. Third, breaking eye contact too soon. If you are breaking the eye contact on a regular period of time, that shows that you are not trustworthy. That means you are not trusting your audience, you are not trusting on the matter which you are delivering to the audience. So that means lack of trust is the indication of when you are breaking your eye contact on a regular period of time. So always try to maintain a regular eye contact, which helps in giving a picture of that you are full of confidence. Nodding too much. That means sometimes you are saying that some people used to make a different kind of faces. कभी अपने लिप्स अंदर कर लेते हैं, कभी लिप्स बाहर कर लेते हैं, कभी अजीब अजीब से फेशियल एक्सप्रेशन देते हैं. सो दिस इज़ कॉल्ड नॉडिंग. If you are sitting in a public place or if you are in a professional meeting and you are doing very much nodding, this shows that even if you agree with what being said, nod once and then try to remain still. Can make you look like a bobblehead doll. That means your expressions are not under your control. That means जो सामने वाला बंदा है, they will recognize you as a puppet. That according to the situation you are going to reflect your body language. So don't give too much of nodding expression if you are in a public place or in any kind of professional gathering. Pointing with your hands. If you are pointing someone with this posture, then it makes that you are a very aggressive personality. So try to avoid it. Crossing your arms. If you are sitting like this, then it also as an indication of lack of confidence. If you are sitting with crossing your arms, it makes you look defensive, especially when you are answering questions. If you are answering a question and during that period of time, if you are keeping your arms crossed like this, it shows that you are in a defensive mood, that whatever you are telling in that matter you are not confident. क्योंकि तब क्या होगा, तब ये इंडिकेशन आप सामने वाले को दे रहे हैं कि नाउ यू आर इन अ डिफेंसिव मूड, कि आपको पता है कि वॉट एवर यू आर डिलीवरिंग दैट इज नॉट अप टू द मार्क. So you have already prepared yourself in a defensive mood. Figging. Figging is how nervous you are. That means if you see there are two postures, one is relaxed, that means full of confidence, and the other one is fidgeting, that means someone you are trying to bend left or right or back or front. That means it shows that at that moment of time you are very nervous. So don't use these body languages. It reflects a kind of nervousness. Holding your hands behind your back or firmly in your pockets. If while communicating in a public meeting, if you are holding your hands at the back and crossing your fingers like this, it shows that you are very stiff and rigid, and aim for natural hands at your side posture. That means if you are holding your hand, अगर आप हाथ को इस तरह से करते हैं, it shows that you are confident. And if you are doing something like this or like this behind your back, it shows that you are so much confused, or whatever you are delivering वो आपको खुद clear नहीं है. So always have a note of it that whenever you are communicating in a public place, then your hand should not be in the pocket. Looking up or looking down. If you are looking up, looking down, it shows that someone is lying or not being themselves. That means whatever the content you are delivering, that is not up to the mark. That means you are lying with the audience or with the person to whom you are communicating. So that means if you are looking upward and downward, it shows that the content which you are delivering is not up to the mark. Staring. If you continuously keep on staring someone, it shows that aggressiveness. There's a fine line between holding someone's gaze and staring them down. See, if you are sitting continuously in this posture, that means you are staring someone. So staring someone indicates that you are in a very aggressive mood, or it reflects that you are a kind of aggressive personality. So don't try to maintain a staring position whenever you are in a process of communication, in a public gathering or in a professional meeting. It gives a kind of very bad impression that you are an aggressive personality. Failing to smile. ये रिएक्शन जो है वो बहुत कॉमन है. दिस आई यूज़ टू सी ड्यूरिंग माई लेक्चर्स, कि जब मेरा लेक्चर होता था, जब स्टूडेंट्स आर नॉट इन अ मूड टू स्टडी एंड दे आर इन अ मूड टू डू अ काइंड ऑफ एक्टिविटी विच मेक देम फील एनर्जाइज. So these kind of expression shows that the person is getting bored and you are not making the other people comfortable. That means whatever you are delivering, the other person or a group of person are not enjoying. So if you are getting these kind of expression in a public gathering or in a professional meeting, that means you are making people uncomfortable, right? So now you can see that body language helps in making us understand what the audience want, whether the audience are enjoying what we are delivering or whether the audience are getting what we are delivering or not. So that's why body language is also a very important factor in the process of communication. Stepping back when you are asking for a decision. So if you are in a public speaking and you are in a stage of doing this kind of expression, that means conveys fear or uncertainty. If you are standing with a crossed leg like this, it indicates or it gives a message that you are in a fear, a kind of fear or a kind of uncertainty. Stand your ground or even take a slight step forward with conviction. In this we can discuss the example कि जब बहुत बड़ी gathering होती है and the speaker, he or she will not stand at one place. He used to move around to cover the whole stage. Why? Because it gives or it is a sign of making the audience comfortable, making a kind of good reputation between the speaker and the audience. So whenever if you are giving this kind of posture, then just keep in mind that it is a kind of fear that you are or indication of fear that you are giving to the audience. So never stand up in this position of cross leg. Steepling your fingers or holding palms up looks like a begging position and conveys weakness. कभी कभी क्या होता है, हम ऐसे करके बैठते हैं, right? So it is a kind of a begging posture. That means you are asking for a begging or you are in a state of begging. So never sit like this in a meeting or professional meeting or in your family function, because it indicates a lack of confidence and a kind of begging. Begging in the sense ये नहीं कि आप पैसे मांग रहे हैं या कुछ और मांग रहे हैं. It is a kind of begging, that means you are begging of attention. You are asking for attention from the speaker. So don't ever use this expression while you are communicating in a public meeting or in a professional meeting. It shows that you are begging of attention from the speaker. So don't ever sit like this. Standing up with hands on hips is an aggressive posture, like a bird or a dog puffing themselves up to look bigger. That means if you are standing and you have kept your hands on your hips, it shows that you are a personality which is not big but trying to show that you are big. So never use this kind of posture. It is a kind of aggressive posture and it gives a negative feeling in the minds of the audience. Checking your phone or watch. If you are in a meeting and you are checking your phone or you're checking your watch, it shows that you are not present at that place, you are somewhere else. Says you want to be somewhere else, plus it's just a bad manner. That means continuously if you are checking your phone, if someone is talking, that means you don't want to continue that conversation anymore, or you are not mentally available at that place. That means you want to be somewhere else but you have stick up in that situation. So that means Never use this kind of body language. Avoid contacting phone or avoid looking at the watch, because it is a kind of negative impression that you are giving to the other person. So what should you do? Aim for good posture in a neutral position, whether sitting or standing. No way whatever you are communicating, but communicate with the audience, communicate with the people with full confidence. Stand with your arms at your sides and sit with them at your sides, or with your hands in your lap. Pay attention so that you naturally hold eye contact, smile and be yourself. So always be yourself. Don't try to copy anyone. Whatever you is, being yourself, be original. Don't try to copy anyone. The four-leg lock position, sign of tough-minded, stubborn individual. That means if you are sitting like this, it indicates that you are a very confused personality. Standard leg cross position shows nervous, reserved or defensive attitude. So never use these type of body language when you are in a communicating with the public or with the audience or in a professional front. If you are using this a partial arms, it is also a lacking of self-confidence. So never use these kind of body language in public meetings. Collar pull, it indicates that you are not happy what the other person is communicating. So it indicates a kind of anger and frustration. कि कभी अगर आपका बॉस जो है वो आपको बहुत ज़ोर से डांट देता है, या ही स्पीक समथिंग विच यू डोंट लाइक, सो एट दैट मोमेंट ऑफ टाइम you are not in a position to argue, but you give such kind of expression which make him understand that you are in a anger or frustration. These are the different postures of arms which gives a reflection about your personality. Thumbs up. It is an okay signal normally, but when it is jerked sharply upward, it becomes an insult signal. कि अगर आप बिल्कुल इस तरह से hands thumbs up कर रहे हो, that means you are cheering some person. And if you are doing like this with the up like this, that means you are making an insult for a person, whatever he or she is delivering. If you are giving this kind of body language, that means you are making fun of that. Ring or okay means all correct. If you are in a meeting and you are not in a position to convey, or you are not in a position to communicate with the help of words, simply you give like this. That means whatever you are delivering, it's all okay. Shoulder shrug shows that a person does not knows or understand what you are talking about. That means the person is confused that what you are talking about. If the person is giving this kind of expression, that means he is not understanding what you are conveying. Smile. I always used to say that always have a smile on your face. Mahatma Gandhi has also mentioned, you are not completely dressed until your face wears a smile. If you have dressed up yourselves in a very corporate mode, but there is no smile on your face, then that look is waste. Why? Because you have not carried a simple smile on your face. So whenever you are delivering or whenever you are communicating anything to an individual or to a person, try to maintain or try to keep a little smile on your face. So this is all for this lecture. I hope that you have enjoyed this lecture, and no doubt this lecture becomes very fruitful if you are going for an interview. तो आज के बाद आप जब भी पब्लिक मीटिंग या पब्लिक गैदरिंग में जाएं, तो ऑलवेज यूज टू कीप the type of body language which you are using and the type of body language with other person are using. So now we will meet in the next lecture of this communication. Till then, stay safe and stay blessed, but be in a process of revision and making note. Thank you, class. Have a good day.